Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. I'm Tanya E. Hood, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, it simply means I've worn a lot of different hats in my life that have helped me develop a full range of strategies and actionable steps that I've used to help my clients make a strategic impact, both personally and professionally, to have better than what life has been giving them. Red Alert Diaries is based on the life lessons from my premier book, Red Alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide to finding the love of your life. And if you read my book, you already know that I got married at 21. And after 11 years of marriage, I found myself going through a divorce, having to raise my two sons alone. To reset my life and survive my divorce, I took the time I needed to get to know me better, which opened me up to new love again. So now I'm in a new marriage to the love of my life and my best friend, which just proves there is life after divorce. On this podcast, we have conversations that's real talk, marriage, divorce, money, and legacy. I want you to join me on the journey. Today, I want to have a conversation about our kids. You see, sometimes when they are growing up and we get into the teenage moments of drama, we think that they're old enough to not need us that much. But what I've learned with both of those boys, the older they get, the more they still need elements of who you are to guide them, direct them, and lead them. Some people under the impressions that our teenagers have an element of being grown and can do certain things on their own. I found that as the boys got older, I had to tap into what they were doing and how they were functioning more and more. It was the thought process, like a lot of us have, is that as they get older, we don't have to spend as much time sitting and teaching and walking and talking, but you do. You see, your children still need you as their guide. They still need to know that you're going to be the one there to nourish them, to encourage them, to support them, to be the listening ear. Now, there are a lot of things I've already shared with my children. There will be moments in your life that you will encounter that I would have never experienced. But there is one something that I'm clear we can figure it out together. So if you have a teenager that you think is listless, not really functioning, you're not sure what's going on, you can't quite understand, there's a few things I want to share with you today that I have used. And now that I am parenting adults, I found that I still have to use it. Now I'm at a phase in the adulthood moments where I don't have to stress as much. But as their mother, I still need to be present. I still need to touch base. I still need to give lessons. You see, one of the first things I want you to do with your teenager, your tween or preteen, or however you want to call it, extend them grace. Yes, they are older. You don't have to do the caretaking that you once did when they were 2 or 3. You don't have to do the maneuvering and the coddling like you did when they were in elementary school. But they still need to know that if they have a bad day, that mommy or daddy is still there to be the landing pad. That soft spot in the world that tells them that they have to grow up quicker, grow up now. Because a lot of things that our children are looking at, listening to, exposed to, forces them to start making adult decisions too soon. I once had an issue with thinking when people told me that I was coddled or I can't remember the statement that was made, but there was often a comment that was made that I didn't know enough, that I was protected. I resented that for a little while, but as I got older and began to see how my life turned out as opposed to those individuals that were exposed to more of life, our lives are way different. There's a lot of things I was never exposed to. There's a lot of things that I have never experienced. And so in some spaces and places, I seem like I've been coddled. In some moments, I seem like I'm unaware. And in a lot of it, I am. But I'm clear that there were some things I should have never gotten exposed to that they got exposed to, and our lives look different. So if you are in a position where you are a little more protective of your children, and I'm not talking about being a helicopter parent, if you are managing and micromanaging, that's a little too much. They do need to have a space where they can learn and fail, but be present enough in their lives so that when they have those moments where they start falling apart or the world starts giving them too much, you know the difference. With each of my sons, I recognized how much each of them could handle. They are two different people. And one child could do things in different arenas that the other child would not function very well in. As their mother, it's my responsibility to know how I need to parent them, how I need to guide them, how I need to expose them and give them the landing pad that they needed. Because when I took the time to figure out how to nurture them through each of the moments, I had to do it different. And with every instance of trying to walk them through that, the first thing I had to do was extend them grace. When we have something in our world that we have done wrong, we want grace extended to us. But we are under the impression because, unfortunately, as a parent, you got to repeat yourself more than you desire, longer than you wish. And so in your mind, if you have said it 100 times and they are still doing the exact same thing, you no longer want to extend the grace. Grace still has to be given. Grace still has to be shown. Give them that moment and repeat what you expected. But in addition to that, share what was supposed to be the next step. Somewhere something got mixed up, or they were just too busy being exposed to what's happening in the world. Our attention span, our attention span, I'm going to get to say this in a minute. Our attention span is being pulled in a billion directions. What about theirs? See, for children already, focusing on one thing is a struggle. And if we have difficulty focusing to function, then what about them? So extend the grace. The next thing I want you to know is to recognize that they are still your baby in some area of their lives. So nurture them. Give them the nourishment that they need. Now, if you are a parent like I was, I breastfed my children. I did it because I wanted them to have the healthiest start in life possible. Somewhere along your life, in some area of where they are, even as teenagers, you still have to be the one to feed them. You still have to be the one to nourish them. I want to encourage you to figure out what that is. They may be a very strong student in school, but they may lack some social skills. That's how I was. And I'm grateful that my grandmother took the time to nourish me in some of those relational elements. I missed some of the context clues along the way because the nerd in me just did not pick it up. I was strong in some other areas that I did not need her support in. I did not need any ideas from her because what I had already mastered surpassed what she knew. And there will be things that your children have that they master that surpass what you know. Acknowledge it. Give them credence and credits for it. But there's also something that you can recognize, being an adult, having lived life and done some stuff, that you need to nourish them in. Encourage them. Feed them what they need at that moment to grow in that area so that they are better balanced. Because there are too many adults running around not balanced enough. They are so strong in one area that in their mind, and this statement that I often hear, what you do in one area, you do in all. That's not a true statement. You can be brilliant in business and a failure in your personal relationships because you just don't know enough. There are different tools, different skills, different insight that you need to pull from in order for you to be successful in various areas. And it does not mean that if you are magnificent in one, you'll be magnificent in another. And if you're a failure in one, you'll be a failure in another. It is not true that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I want to encourage those of you that have heard that statement over and over again. Don't worry about it. Find the area that you need support. Get the support that you need. Find the tools that you need to go through the process so that you can be whole. Because I want you to know this next part. Your children are still looking at you. You are the book that many of them may be reading. You are the TV show that a lot of them are watching. You are the individual that they will reflect when they walk out into the world. So you got to pay better attention to how you're showing up. You need to pay better attention to what I don't like to say failure points, but sometimes we just got to fail and fail fast. And if you find yourself in a position in your life that you have failed in, that your children have picked up, because some of us have what we call our little mini me's. I have a mini me, and my mini me found some pieces of my negative behavior, bad moments, and things I wish nobody knew, but he became the reflection of what that was in my existence. I had to fix it. I had to recalibrate, and then I had to do the same with him. Your children are watching more of what you do than what you say. So if you intend for them to be the best beings that they're supposed to be in the world, you've got to figure out where your shortcomings are, because you are still the book that many are reading, the show that a lot are watching, and they will reflect what you give off. And so for today, if you don't remember anything else I've shared, here's the one thing I want you to know. You can still nourish your child if it looks like there's some pieces of who they are that is not fully functioning. Just like you can water a plant that looks like it's dead and all of a sudden it's revived, water your children. Give them the nourishment that they need, the safe landing place that is you, so that when they walk out into the world, they know that they are getting fed somewhere, some great things that the world will never give them. They will know that the book that they are reading and the show that they are watching is a good one. Emulate it. Even if no one else in the world is doing what you do, you know that it is best for them moving forward. Continue to do it. Because one day, and this is the thing that I'm learning now, that I'm looking at my sons in their adulthood, there were some things that I shared that I didn't think they ever heard. But now, as young men in this world, I see them working it out. I see them talking it out. And I recognize that even though there were some pages written in the book of Tanya that I didn't want to expose, that they got drips off of, they did read more of the book of Tanya that was great. Your book that they are reading, make it great, because one day you'll turn around and you will see that they got the good parts. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, TanyaEhood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. And if you're on Instagram, you can join me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can continue this conversation or we can start a new one. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.